Great Tuesday morning, everyone. How are you all doing? This is your girl, Shan. Happy Tuesday. Get up. Come on, let's get to moving. So, I always say on Tuesday mornings, thank you for supporting Marriage Mondays with the Kings, our radio show. You know, just in case individuals listening to the video and you like, okay, who is this chick and why is she always doing a video like every day? That's something that God has placed on my heart to do. And then when I be like, God, am I done? He be like, no, and give another topic. But it came based off of our radio show that we have, Marriage Mondays with the Kings. So I just do a quick morning moment of inspiration, marriage mornings with the Queen. Now, today's topic, my marriage is going through. I first encourage those of you all who listen to us. Good morning, Sabrina. Those of you all who support Marriage Mondays with the Kings. I pray if you know the Lord, when you are getting up in the morning and you're saying your prayers, can you pray for marriages? Because marriages are under attack. Families are under attack. Individuals themselves are under attack. But I just ask that you would just come in agreement with us and pray that marriages be strengthened, because the devil is like so busy. Okay. And so I will let you know, good morning, Cousin Kim. Thank you. I will let you know that when you send us messages, you know, we encourage you to do that. We encourage that at the end of our show every week. Please know that it'll be a little bit of time for us to respond back, but we do respond back. We don't want anybody to think that, you know, we forgot about them or whatever. We actually respond back to people. But today I'm going to talk about my marriages going through. Every marriage go through. Every marriage has its ups and downs. One of the biggest things that me and my husband always say is you have to get to the root of the issue that you are having. Sometimes we may think that it's actually our marriage, but it may be something a little bit deeper than that. One thing that I recognize as a people is we do not like to dig deep. We don't like to dig deep to get to the root of what the issue is, to see where it first derived from. Like I said, it may not even be in your marriage. And, you know, I say this quite often, it could have started in your childhood. As I was at an event this weekend, awesome event, you know, very encouraging and everything. God had dropped something in my spirit that he wanted me to speak. Now, me, Shan, I was like, look, God, I'm used to giving, doing. I was trying to receive in, but I was literally to the point where I couldn't breathe because God wanted me to share this. And so basically is what you see in the little subtitle, that in which you are not willing to recognize you cannot heal from. That in which you're not willing to recognize you cannot heal from. And so, and going through in our marriage, we have to recognize what the issues are. Now, this is the biggest problem that we have as husbands and wives when our spouse come to us. Because, you know, I've always told my husband, you can tell me anything. It's just how you say it. Baby, you come to me like you want to fight. You come to me talking all kinds of crazy and your voice is elevated, then out of reaction, I'm going to do the same thing. I ain't trying to be mean, you know, whatever the case may be. I'm just sharing some of the, good morning, Tasha, some of the life lessons that we had to get over in marriage. You come to me because, see, the Bible say a soft answer turns away wrath. That's what it says. To see you, like my friend Donna say, you can't be handling me rough. You got to come to me, you know, speaking to me like a normal person. And so we have to ask ourselves, what is the root? Now, this is the example in the illustration that God gave me to give this weekend. I'm going to talk about this, and then I'm going to come back and get back on the topic we're talking about, because it all lines in. When we're not, that in which we're not willing to recognize we cannot heal from, the example that God had me use is, for example, when I got molested as a young girl. And so, yes, I did what Oprah said, you know, whatever the case may be. And it was just kind of swept under the rug and never talked about, like it never happened. And so I said that right there, I had to recognize the issues that I was still dealing with in my life, in my adult life, because it's something that happened to me as a child. And if you think about it, just that issue alone could really could have affected my marriage in a really negative way. But see, I was the type of person that I didn't like to punish somebody for what somebody else did. I'm like that just in life in general. So another example I gave, I said, okay, so look outside. If an accident, because I was talking about now, no knock to the churches now, but let's keep it all the way real if we can, okay? So I was talking about how, yes, God can do, God can move, God can make things happen, God can do all of that. But if we don't first recognize that we need God to move on the behalf of whatever that thing is, then nothing's going to be done. And so sometimes us being raised in the church, we turn off this fairy tale thing in our mind like, oh no, it's not really going on. This not really going on in my marriage. God's going to do and move and all this. But you have to call that thing out into the atmosphere in order for God to move on it. You see what I'm saying? You have to recognize whatever the issue is first. But again, we don't like to dig deep enough. We don't like to even admit that we have a problem. And what is so sad is these generations going forth is getting worse, okay? Instead of people wanting to deal with the true issues that we have, and look, I have nothing against medication, okay? Nothing at all. What we rather do is say, take some depressant medication for depression, but we don't want to get to the root and do the work of why it is that we're suffering from depression. You see what I'm saying? So in our marriages, we pretend like everything is okay. We come in, we pretend for the kids, we pretend for the people at church, we pretend out in the community, we pretend like everything is okay. And then all of a sudden, I'm tired of pretending. I get to the point where I'm tired of pretending and boom, automatic divorce. Instead of us pretending that everything is okay, we could have been actually going to seek counseling, or we could have been coming together as husbands and wives and praying. There are so many things that we can do to counteract the things that we face when we're going through in our marriage. Okay? One thing I had to learn how to stop doing is running my mouth so much, because I'm telling you, let my husband get angry. He came and be, baby, this tongue of fury used to come back, because I had to set up, and this is why I could talk about this. I had to set up and realize that I can't be coming out for my husband. Why are we still going through the same situation over and over and over again? Have y'all ever, I know it ain't just me now, especially people who've been married for some time. Have you ever just went through the same, you've argued over the same situation over and over and over again for years? Some of y'all, I can hear y'all talking about, yep. Look, you ain't gonna say it, but I can hear you. Yep, sure have. You've argued, but have you ever just sit back and said, why are we arguing over this? Why is this the issue? Because let me tell you, like I've said it so many times before, when the devil knows how he can attack you, he's going to continue to attack your marriage in that same way until you do something about it. Think about it. Your house, God forbid anybody's house get robbed, but think about it. I'm using it as an illustration. Your house. If the thief always come in through the bathroom window, because you always leave the bathroom window open so you don't maybe get mildew or whatever from taking a shower. You leave that bathroom window open. Always leave it open. Oh, I ain't worried about it. Ain't nobody going to attack because the bathroom is in the backyard. It's in the back fence. But every time you come home, at least once a month, your house done got broken into because you done left that side window open. We have to know where the devil attacks. We as husbands and wives have to stand up even more and say, okay, what can I do to counterbalance this? What can I do to make a change? Because if one individual starts to make that change, it can change for the better. When I stopped arguing with my husband, we stopped having arguments. You see what I'm saying? Because I got tired of raising my voice. I got tired of my blood pressure going up. I got tired of arguing. But see, what we do is when something is hurting us, let me go ahead and keep it real. When something is hurting us and our spouse, say they start off talking to us in a very calm way. So say I say, Kenya, I can't stand when you come in the house and you track mud all through this house, because I done took time out to clean the house. I'm just using that as an example. My husband cleans more than I do. But I get tired of that, baby. I get tired of you always telling me everything that I'm doing wrong, but you can't tell me anything that I'm doing right. The only time, and that's one of the biggest arguments that couples have, because people don't know how to effectively communicate with their spouse. What they do is communicate everything that their spouse is doing wrong, and the spouse feels like they can never do anything right. Let me just be honest. If you are guilty of this and you are listening to this, anytime you get ready to say something negative out your mouth, just shut it up. Just be quiet, because you're not helping the situation in your marriage if you always got to say something negative. The word of God says life and death is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So what life are you putting into your marriage? What life are you speaking into your marriage when you're going through? Okay, that is the hardest thing that you can do is speak life in your marriage. Good morning, Andrea. When you're going through, that's the hardest thing. I'm telling you, I have done it. When my husband was getting on my rabbit nerves, you know, that last little nerve, like our mothers used to say. And I have to turn around and tell him, baby, I love you. You are such an awesome man of God. Because I was speaking life. And he is an awesome man of God. But I had to learn this. When you are going through in your marriage, what are you doing to make a positive difference? You see what I'm saying? What are you speaking to make a positive difference? Are you speaking your spouse up? Are you telling them how good they look? If you always husbands, let me holler at you, right? If you're always complaining about what your wife is wearing that you don't like, do you ever take the time out to tell her that she's sexy, she cute, she fine, she your PYT, and what you do like? Do you do that? Husbands, do you only open up the door for your wife when other people are around? Yes, honey, rabbit brandy. When other people are around? Do you only open up the door to front and treat her like a lady when other people are around, but when nobody's looking, you can't do it? Wives, do you only do for your husband in the presence of others because the people at the church are watching? That's the only time that you hold your husband's hands, but any other time you talking about don't touch me. Okay? Are you only doing it when pastor and first lady are around? That's the only time that you want to be nice to your husbands in the presence of your church members so they ain't got nothing to talk about on Sunday dinner after church. Oh, trust and believe, baby. I've been raised in it, so I already know. What are we doing to counterbalance the things that we are not doing, that we are currently not doing, that is not healthy for our marriages? What are we doing? Yes, we can have faith in God all day, but the word of God does say faith without works is dead. So what work are you putting in your marriage? Now, if it comes to the point, and even though me and my husband don't encourage divorce, but if it comes to the point where it comes to that, say, for instance, I'll use example of my husband's prior marriage, and this is based off of what I heard his prior soldiers say and his leaders and all this other kind of stuff. Even some of the stuff he said, everything he said, the receipts came throughout the years to verify what he said. Sometimes you find yourself in a marriage that you ain't got no business being in, and divorce comes about. But for those who have divorced, even though I haven't divorced, I encourage you to get to know yourself, what you like and what you don't like. Because where people mess up is they tend to remarry the same person that they just divorced in somebody else. And so if you're not taking that time to say, what are some of the things, being honest with yourself, you can't just always blame it on your ex-spouse, okay? You got to be honest with yourself and say, what are some of the things that aided to the steps that went in the direction of divorce? If you don't address that, I promise to God, you will be going through the same situation in the second marriage, the third marriage, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. Yes, I do know somebody's been married 6 or 7 times, and each one of them have failed and then got tired on the 7th marriage and was like, you know what, I need to go ahead and put in some work. Please do not just jump straight into another marriage because, oh, we was always arguing. Baby, you're going to be doing the same thing. Okay? So I encourage us, get to the root of what the issue is in your marriage. Why are you arguing? Why are you going through? 9 times out of 10, like I always say, you'll sit up and find out that it wasn't your spouse. They may have hit a nerve, but they hit a nerve and you lashed out to them for something that somebody else did in your past. And see, let me tell you one last thing before I get ready to go, because this bothers me like no other. Of course, culturally, in some cultures, you have it to where people sweep things under the rug. The black community, let me be real, it ain't just us, but I'm going to speak because, I'm going to speak on that because I know that. We sweep things under the rug like it never existed. We sweep things under the rug and just tell the person to suck it up and get over it. And then we sit up here and wonder why it is that in certain cultures we do not have strong families and we do not have strong marriages. Because, yeah, we sweep things under the rug and that's what we were taught, but we were never taught to go get help. What we were always taught is you handle your own affairs and what goes on in your house stays in your house. Why is it that we have so much brokenness? Because people don't go get help because we're taught that you don't need to go get help. We're dependent like I said, that post that I I put on Facebook, yes, it's good to have Jesus, but it's also good to have a therapist. It's also good to go get help, okay? Do you think that the people, I do not know not one person who has not received some type of help from a therapist, a counselor, spiritual guidance, a spiritual mentor. I've never seen that to where they went throughout life without their marriage is all perfect and they never received help. When you are in the midst, husbands and wives, it takes the both of you to go and get help. Yes, you may have to have some individual sessions. Yes, you may have to have a couple session with the husband and the wife. But if one is going getting help from the doctor, that ain't going to benefit the both. Let me go ahead and give a straight up example of what I'm talking about before I get ready to go. One last example. Think about it like this. If one spouse, and I know this is early in the morning, but y'all know I'm medical. That's my background. If one spouse, God forbid, has to happen to have an STD, them going to get the medication to clear their STD up, but coming back sleeping with their spouse is not going to heal the other spouse. Both of you need to go and get the medication. Does anybody get where I'm coming from on today? Okay, both needs to go get the help. And when you go in to get the help, when you're going through in your situation, don't be so quick to say that it's your spouse's fault as to the reason why you in this situation. Okay, because, and I'm gonna say this, and some people about to get mad, but I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be honest when I say this. 9 times out of 10, when we speak to couples where there's a situation where it's been some cheating that has happened, some infidelity in the marriage, once the root is unearthed, is 1 or 2 reasons why the infidelity happened. One, it stemmed from that person's childhood, where I've commonly heard men say, well, my daddy did it and my grandpa did it and everybody that cheated in my family. Instead of just saying, you know what, since everybody cheated in my family, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to be the one generations going forth to break this generation. Or 9 times out of 10, it was their spouse as to the reason why they cheated. Because their spouse wasn't sleeping with them. Their spouse wasn't giving them no attention. And this goes both ways. This is if the husband stepped out or the wife stepped out. 9 times out of 10, it started in the house. If you sit down and ask them, well, why did you do it? I don't understand. Then they may say, well, you know, it's just me. They might not open up to you or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, if you look at the pattern and you get to talking to somebody in that side of the family, they'll tell you, oh, girl, shoot, all the men in our family cheated. That's just what they did. I'm just being honest. Or they'll say, you've always turned your back on me. You always put your job before. You always put your soldiers. I used to hear this in the military a lot. You always put your soldiers above me, and I'm just over here like I don't, you know, because we were trained on if the army wanted you to have a family, they would have issued you one. The government would have issued you one. Not teaching you that you still have a family and you still need to maintain your family because your family is your strength and they're the ones that's going to have your back. So I've said a whole bunch of different things trying to touch people where they are. But bottom line, when you're going through in your marriage, get you some help. Get you some help. What people do is they wait to the very last string. All the words are said. Everything has been said that is not productive to their marriage. And then that's when they want to go get some help. No, at the first sign of trouble, when you sit in your house and God forbid you bleeding out because you done sliced your accidentally stabbed your finger or whatever the case may be, baby, guess what you going to do if you bleeding out profusely? You going to go get help. Okay? So get beyond yourself. Get beyond your pride. If you want your marriage to work and you want your marriage to be saved, both of y'all need to go get help. So unless you just don't want the marriage, you want to throw it away, both of y'all need to go get help. So y'all have a blessed day. Don't let anybody steal your joy. Share this because it's free. Be a blessing, not a curse. Your girl gonna be with you with some truth on tomorrow, whether you want to hear it or not. All you got to do is press play. But somebody need to hear this. All right? Have a blessed day. God bless.